Welcome to Raaonline. I'm Dr. Thomas Alexander, consultant cardiologist at the Kovai Medical Center, Coimbatore, and director of STEMI India. I'm going to talk to you for the next 5 to 7 minutes about the challenges to managing cardiovascular disease in India. And I think it's important for us to have that perspective when we work on managing cardiovascular disease. Now, if you look at international coronary heart disease mortality trends, and this is over a period of time, you can see that at every country in Europe and in the US, there is a drop in the incidence of cardiovascular disease. However, if you look at CAD in India, you can see that it's a rising trend. And this is something that I think each one of us need to keep in mind. If you were to look at the NCD projections, you can see how NCD, which was only about 36% in 1970, by 2030 would be about 80% of the disease that we will confront in this country. Looking at it from a global perspective, you can see that by 2030, the developing countries will have 80% or more of NCDs as part of their disease processes. And this is very worrying because not only do we have this huge burden of disease, we need to have the technology, the capability, and the finances to manage these conditions. This is data from the Health of the Nations. This is a publication in Lancet. And what you can see here is that looking at 1990 to 2016, you can see how the disease patterns have changed from a communicable disease of 60% in 1990. You can see that that's come down to 32%, but NCDs have gone up to 55%. And this is climbing. And this is the reality of what we face in this country today. This is again a publication in Lancet looking at when did this epidemiological transition from communicable diseases to non-communicable diseases take place. Now, if you look at some of the states, especially the southern states, say Kerala, or you take Tamil Nadu, you can see this transition took place in the 80s and in the 90s. And if you take some of the states, the poorly developed states, particularly in North India, you can see that the transition took place by 2010, 2009. But whatever the rate of transition, today we know that every state in this country has had a transition from communicable diseases to non-communicable diseases. And in some of the states, there is a double burden of both communicable and non-communicable disease. If you see when does the maximum death and disability cross different age groups, by the 20s and 30s, you can see that NCDs again becomes the dominant cause of disability and death in our population. Add to this the problem that we have of low public health care spending. And this slide illustrates what it is in different countries. In the US, about 6.8 is public sector spending, 8.4 is the private sector spending. And if you look at India's, where the majority of the spending for the poor in this country should come from the government side, we're spending a pathetic 1.2% of our GDP on public health.